welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight. Once you decide that human beings are gods with the power to rewrite history, biology, and nature, the power to shape reality itself, once you decide that, there's no reason to stop at sex changes. Transgenderism is certainly faddish at the moment. None of us can stop talking about it. But men magically morphing into women is not the final stage of anything. Instead, it's the first of many similar movements that are on the way inevitably. And the few visionaries who have grasped this obvious truth, weirdly, have not been welcomed by Blue America. They have been mocked and derided, as prophets always are. A few years ago, for example, a blue-eyed blonde woman from Montana called Rachel Dolezal declared that she was black because she decided that she was black. Blackness was Rachel Dolezal's lived experience. But she was not greeted as a liberator. She was almost immediately booed off the stage, and then she disappeared. And yet, tellingly, none of the people yelling at Rachel Dolezal ever explained why she couldn't be black. Why not? In this country, you can change your sex, but not your race? Really? How does that work? What species of science are we talking about here? It was not a defensible argument. And so over time, like all indefensible arguments, it will collapse. Someday, the New York Times will give Rachel Dolezal its coveted Glass Ceiling Award for her courage in the face of prejudice. That will happen. But before it does, we'd like to highlight some of the early adopters of our new civic religion, where each of us is God of the universe with utter dominion over nature. These are the trailblazers, the pathfinders, the Daniel Boones of progressive identity politics. One of them is a man called Justin Pearson. Pearson has been in the news recently for helping to facilitate an insurrection at the Tennessee State House. You may have seen him. But you may not know what Justin Pearson was like before his transition.
The first one was from Fox, and it was regarding Tucker Carlson, former Fox News, Tucker Carlson, who's now, I think he's got a show on Twitter. But Tucker Carlson's talking about there's a lady that's white, and she wants to convert to being black. So what's wrong with that? I mean, women are converting to being men, men are converting to being women. Why can't a black person convert to be a white person? Why can't a white person say they're black? Why can't a person say they're an animal now? I mean, you could say whatever you want. Why can't you say you're a chair now? Why can't you convert to being a chair? Why can't you convert to everybody being, you know, like some form of idol, you know? So here we go with a wishy-washy, wishy-washy woke. You know, wake up, woke, wake up, joke. You tell people they're men, and now they want to be women. You tell people they're women, they want to be men. Now some people want to be white if they're black, and some blacks want to be white. So there you have it. And if you think this is funny, wait till you hear what Pete Buttigieg, remember the wonderful young attorney that ran 4 years ago against President Joe Biden, and since Joe Biden was scared that Pete Buttigieg might win, they gave him this big position in transportation. The problem is he doesn't really have any experience, but he is a very liberal gentleman. He is married to another man, so he is part of the woke culture. So we rise the ones from the woke to the top, even if they have zero experience. And watch what it's like now being in the United States on an airplane. I'm Tisha Paul. We'll see you soon.
Transition.
Labor Day is upon us. Millions of Americans are trying to squeeze out the last moments of summer fun. Some are hitting the road to get out of Dodge and enjoy that nice, long holiday weekend. Or you're one of the unlucky ones who has to navigate one of Joe Biden's hellish airports. I wish you good luck. The FAA is warning it's going to be one of the busiest holiday weekends of the year. More than 3,000 flights delayed already today. And the people are acting as insane as ever. A guy freaking out over the overhead storage bin and getting himself kicked off a flight. He was repeatedly complaining about another dude stashing too many bags in his overhead bin space. And who can forget the axe-wielding pilot who went berserk on a parking gate arm, giving it a good 23 whacks until cops arrested him. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg trying to act like he's on top of all the flight chaos, but just wound up blaming the usual suspects for his incompetence. Listen.
Not only are we seeing the system rebound from the worst effects of COVID, but we're seeing things come more in line with what we would have regarded as normal. Now, that doesn't mean that the system was immune from some tough travel days this year and this summer. Most of the rough days that we did see this year had to do with storms that affected hubs, which then had cascading effects.
But we all know how Hard Hat Pete, not really focused on solving Americans' flight problems. It's because he's too busy working on transportation equity. Buttigieg is appointing a group of leading experts to advise him how all cars should be phased out because they could cause climate change and promote racism. Okay, Judge Janine. Well, Mayor Pete, Hard Hat Pete, as we like to call him, does he seem concerned to you about the worst travel day of the year?
No, his main concern right now is making sure that we don't find out about his own private flights because he doesn't take the planes that we're all taking. And by the way, here is a study here. If emissions of greenhouse gases were stopped, would the climate return to the conditions of 200 years ago? The answer is no. I'll put that away. Now, transportation equity. Transportation equity. I looked it up. Do you know what it is?
I don't.
Okay. It seeks fairness in mobility and accessibility to meet the needs of all community members. Okay? So that means you've got to be accessible to everybody. I think most roads are, and I think most buildings are, and most sidewalks, most courthouses, most department stores are. So then I went to the next definition. Now, they say cars are bad.
Talking about this white woman who wants to be black. So there's nothing wrong with that these days. I mean, women want to be men, men want to be women. This is the woke culture. It's waking us up to our creativity. Whatever we want to be, we will be. If you want to be a chair, someday you will be a chair. That's what the woke culture is telling you. Because there's no longer 2 gender. There are now 3. How about we make it 500 gender woke? Come on, wake up with more. I'm Tisha Powell. Folks, go ahead and hit that free like and that free subscribe button. You think the woke culture is anything? Watch this Fox segment with Jesse Walters. He was talking with the ones on the 5, and they're talking about Pete Buttigieg. And as you know, Pete is in charge of transportation in the United States. So what is it like? Watch it and we'll be back to give you our commentation for the day. Wow, so that's what it's like being at the airport in the United States. Thank you, Pete. Thank you. You have 0 experience in transportation. However, if anybody remembers, President Joe Biden was scared of running against Buttigieg because Buttigieg is part of the woke culture as he's progressive, he's married to another man, and they're raising a family together. So because he's part of the woke culture, he was given that position and he wouldn't be running against President Joe Biden. But do you see what he's doing for transportation? He's making it a huge mess because he lacks the experience required. That's politics for you. He who lacks experience must be the one that you choose for the top. I'm Tisha Powell. Folks, go ahead and hit that free like and that free subscribe button. And don't forget, we have a joke coming out later today. It's going to be a political joke. You don't want to miss it. Also, check out our tag products from Neiman Marcus. You no longer have to physically go to a store to shop. You can shop right now on the internet. You can watch the show and look at the products, and it gets shipped anywhere in the world. This is the new way. And I can tell people I haven't been to a store in years. I just do everything over the internet. I'm Tisha Powell. We'll see you soon. Wait for that joke.